Well, yes, I'm Koen de Hond. My presentation is titled, Do you know your browser? But maybe I should have called it, Do you know your Faro browser? Or do you know your Faro system browser? Or do you know Calypso? Yeah. So I want to do a quick poll first. Who uses Faro? Okay, cool. Yeah. If you have questions about this presentation or what I'm doing, yeah, you can use this email address. Okay, let's see whether this works. Okay, good. I have two objectives with this presentation. First of all, I ran a survey on the Faro system browser or the usage of the Faro system browser, and I will present some results here. And second of all, I like to give some tips. I will be happy when you take away at least one browser feature or Faro browser feature that you did not know of before. There we go. First, I'd like to say a few words about me, because it has been a long time since I attended an ESUG conference, more than 20 years. So probably most of you don't know me yet. I talked to a lot of people already this week, and I hope to talk to some more today and tomorrow. But still, let me give you a short introduction about me, and it's also related to what I have done for this presentation. I've been using Smalltalk since 1988, first as a student, then as an assistant, a research assistant and a teaching assistant at a university in Brussels, and later on in industry. So then I used it professionally. I've been one of the driving forces of the Belgian Smalltalk user group. At one point, I was even the chairman of the Belgian user group. And back then, I attended several ESUG conferences where I did tutorials, even full-day tutorials back then, and other stuff. Louder? Can't you hear me? Okay, good. So that was in the 90s and in the early nillies. But in 2003, I had to abandon my Smalltalk job back then. I was forced to, and I wanted to, well, I was looking for another job, and Smalltalk was not part of it anymore. But last December, Johan, the CTO of YesPlan, called me, and he pulled me back into the Smalltalk world after 20 years of absence. So that's what you see over here. That's the red, the red rectangle. And I'd like to thank Johan again in front of this crowd to call me back then. Okay, so in January I started, I joined the YesPlan team. Soon after, a few months later, I started my own blog. As you can see, my blog on Smalltalk. It's, well, the domain is the same as the one of my email address. And then I think a month or maybe 2 months later, I made a proposal for this presentation that I will give you today. So, let me tell you why I did the browser survey. Yeah. I like pair programming. That's what you see here on the left. We use a good tool for that. It's called Tuple. So we did a lot of pair programming with colleagues, and I came to the conclusion, well, I saw them do repetitive actions that could be done faster and more efficiently. And I was wondering why they didn't use some handy tools that are available in Calypso. And that's why I started what I called back then the Faro tip of the week. So every week I tried to come up with a tip to tell them about something that I learned while I was browsing the code, or something that I read in the documentation or whatever. And I wanted to know whether they, well, they knew about it. Yeah. And I also asked, as you can see there, it was on Slack, so I asked whether they knew about it or not. And apparently, there were a few features that they did not know about, and I was surprised about that. And then I was wondering, yeah, what would be the situation in the Faro community? So that triggered the survey. So I composed a survey with 33 questions, as you can see later. And I sent an invitation to participate on the mailing list, the user mailing list, the development mailing list, and also on Discord. And yeah, some people answered, and the results will be presented here today. And my hunch that some people would not know their browser as well as I thought has become reality, as you will see. Okay, there's another reason why I ran the survey. Long time ago, at the university, back at the university, I was part of a research group that did research in object-oriented languages and object-oriented language design. And my angle was development tools. And I used, back then, Visualworks to build a lot of tools. Yeah, so I built a lot of Smalltalk tools. I'm very passionate about Smalltalk tools and passionate about how people use tools to produce software. And so I built some browsers in the past, and when I started using Faro, then it didn't take long before I was trying my own browser, right? So there is output from the survey that is direct input for the work and the experiments that I'm doing there. Okay, good. There is something about this tip that you see there. I don't know whether you read it. Yeah, I will read it out loud. If there is an insertion point, normally you do backspace for one character, but if you do Shift-Tab, then it deletes the whole word in front of the insertion point. Apparently, it has been changed because in Faro 9 and Faro 10 it was implemented like that, but in Faro 11 it's Control backspace suddenly. I didn't know. I noticed last week when I was rehearsing my presentation. Okay, good. Let's dive in here. 63 respondents, 63 people responded to the survey. It ran, almost 2 months. There were 33 questions, and the 33 questions, most of them had a predefined list of answers, but also most of them had the other section over there. And a lot of people filled in the other part. So that means that I have nuanced feedback about a few of those on those questions, right? In this short time that I have, I only have half an hour. It's impossible to process all the questions, of course. So I will make a selection, and you will see. If you want to see all the results, go to my blog. Everything is on there. If you have questions later here about some questions that you filled in or not, because I don't know whether you participated, we will do a poll immediately. Then just ask. I have all the results here in slides as well, so I can show you. So let's do a quick poll. Who filled in the browser survey? Okay, cool. It's no, not 64. It's less than I expected because there was a question about will you attend ESUG, and almost 40% of the people said, yeah, I will. So they are not all here. Okay, good. So I said one of the objectives is to let each of you, or at least the Faro users, take away one browser feature that you didn't know about. In the questions that were included in the survey, there were already some tips, and we will revisit a few there. Okay, let's dive in. I will often talk about keyboard shortcuts. I'm a Mac user, as you can see here, so I will say for commands I will press command something, right? And you have to translate it to meta something on your favorite development environment, or sorry, your favorite operating system. Good. First, I'd like to give you a few statistics about who responded. As you can see there in the top left, more than 25% have less than 5 years Smalltalk experience, but more than 66 are experienced Smalltalkers with more than 5 years experience, and even 50% of the respondents had more than 10 years of experience. There is one special one at the bottom there in black. It was too many years. It was embarrassing. I know who answered it, but I will not tell you. Okay, so then in the top right, you will see the number of years of Faro experience, and as you can see here, more than 50% of the respondents have more than 5 years experience with Faro, and two respondents claimed that they had 20 years of Faro experience, which is a bit strange, because Faro was forked from Squeak on the 16th of March in 2008. It was well, I did not ask for names or whatever, so I don't know who answered that. Okay, then in the bottom left chart, you will see in which capacity that they use it. It's interesting to see that more than 50% were professional users. I also find it interesting that more than 20% were hobbyists. Yeah. Then I was wondering whether, well, which version of Faro they used. And as you can see, there's the distribution. If you look at it carefully, then you will see that almost 30% uses Faro 11, 20% uses Faro 12, and many still use other versions. Now, I have to make a big, big note here. That is that this chart is not up to date anymore, of course, because people upgrade all the time. So probably many more people use 11 and 12. Okay, let's go to the questions then. Let's see whether this works. Yeah, okay, good. This is the method code editor, and I will process or tell you about questions about these tools here at the bottom and these tools here at the top. And later on, I will add a few other questions as well, which are not related to those tools. First of all, that's not really a tool. It's more information in the bottom left corner. And if we look at the charts, then more than half of the respondents do not know what that information is about. And another 20% do not use it at all. So that's quite high. I will tell you what it is if you don't know. Yeah? There are two variations of this information. The first variation is when you have an insertion point. So there is no selection of text, just an insertion point like in the screenshot over here. In that case, the first number that you see there is the line number where the insertion point is located. Yeah? The second number behind the slash is the total number of lines. As you can see, there are 6 in the display, and it is 9 over there. I will come back to that later. The third number, the number between brackets, is the position of the insertion point on the line. Yeah? If there is a text selection, yeah, so multiple characters are selected, then this information will be there for the selection start and for the selection end, and it is separated by a double dash. So, as you can see here, there is discrepancy between that number 9 that you see there and the number of lines in the text, in the source. But if you count the wrapped lines in the source, then you see that there are 9 lines. Yeah? So that's where the 9 comes from. But this is, to me, this is a bug that we should fix. Yeah? Why do I see it? Because I have wrapping on. I will talk about wrapping later on. And yeah, line 2, which is very long, is wrapped, and that's why it goes wrong somewhere. Okay. The next tool that we see here is, well, it's displayed with a cross icon. There is no extra information that you see there. If you click it, then you unclassify the selected method. So I call it unclassify tool. The numbers in the chart show that half of the respondents do not know what the tool is, and another 25 do not use it at all, which is quite high. So, what is the operation you okay. Yeah, the unclassified tool is used to, it's to unclassify. So normally you classify your methods in protocols, right? And it's possible with this tool to take the method out of the protocol it belongs to. Sorry, I should have explained. Good question. I didn't. Maybe someone else can answer it. I can't answer that. Okay. Okay. Good. The next tool is related to the first one, and it's a combination of the icon that you see there, it's a pencil icon, and the name of a protocol. So this is, it indicates in which protocol the method is classified at this time. And by clicking the tool, you get a prompt, and it asks you whether you want to move it to another protocol, or to a new protocol, because you can add a new one. So that's why I call it the classify tool. The numbers in the chart shows that almost 40% of the respondents do not know what this tool is, and another 12 do not use it at all. Let's go to a sibling tool there. This is a tool to put a method in an extension. Yeah? It consists of a checkbox and the word extension. when you click the checkbox, then you can put it in an extension, and you will get a dialog, and it asks you in which extension you want to put it. You will see a check mark in that checkbox when the method is inside the extension currently, and like it is here, this is a system method, let's say, because of the dictionary class, it's not in an extension, and that's why we don't see the checkbox. Looking at the chart, we can see that 90% do not use it at all. 22% of the respondents do not know what the tool is about. But on the good side, I should say, more than half of the respondents use it. That's what you see there. And then we have another category of tools there. The first one is the format tool to auto-format the source text. It's also a checkbox, as you can see with the letter F behind it. And if you look at the chart, then we see that 28% of the respondents do not know what a tool is, and another 34% do not use it at all. Maybe that's not surprising, because there was another question, which I will not show you today, about would you like to have automatic formatting? And the results, I mean, I got a list like this, like, yeah, I like it, I don't like it, I like it only when the formatter will be changed and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's the situation. If you want to see all the results, please refer to the blog post. Okay, the next one, it reads +L. I call this the toggle line numbers tool. The chart shows that more than 41% of the respondents do not know what this tool is, and 23 do not use it at all, which is quite high in my opinion, and the result was very surprising to me. It seems that many developers are either not interested in line numbers, in seeing line numbers, or either they have line numbers on all the time, like me, because in the settings you can turn it on to see it everywhere. Yeah? So maybe there should have been a follow-up question, would you like to see line numbers all the time? So let's do a poll. Would you like to see line numbers all the time in your method source code editor? Raise your hand if you do. Aha, good. Some people said, yeah, we don't need line numbers because we have small methods. But I think you never saw test code, for instance. For testing user interfaces, then those methods are not as small as you see here. Then typically they have a long list of lines. You know, I can show you some examples if you like. So, okay, but it was good feedback. Okay, the next one. The W, I already mentioned it. This is what I call the wrap text tool. When wrapping is on, as shown here, then we will see a W. If wrapping is off, then it will show NW from no wrapping, probably. Yeah. If you look at the chart, then we see that 55% of the respondents do not know what this tool is, and another 34 do not use it at all. Yeah. I have wrapping on all the time. As you can see here, I turn it on sometime and I have it there, because I don't like horizontal scrolling, certainly not when I'm writing code. And I don't like, well, I can't scroll on my Mac, I can't scroll with my trackpad or with my magic mouse, because it doesn't work in Faro. You can swipe vertically to scroll, but you cannot swipe horizontally, or at least not on this Mac. Okay, let's look at the summary. And yeah, it's clear, we see a pattern here. Yeah, you should look at the green parts and the orange parts. And then it's clear that, yeah, a lot of those tools are either not known or either they are not used. Good. Let's go to the top right. First of all, we have those two arrows over there. They are the browsing history navigation tools, yeah, similar to back and forward buttons in a web browser. And the chart shows that more than 25% of the respondents do not use these buttons, and almost 10% do not know what the purpose is. But it's clear from this chart that many people use those history tools. Now, I'd like to ask the Faro users, do you know that there is a keyboard shortcut to use them, to trigger them? Does anybody know? Well, on a Mac, you can press Option left and Option right to go forward, backward and forward in the history. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, that means that one of my objectives is met, right? You learned something. Okay, let's go from right to left then. The one that is indicated there with the red arrow, I call it the versions in the image tool. Extremely handy because it enables you to revert to changes that you made in the image. So if you have 10 versions of your method in your image, you can just press that tool, it opens a window and you can select another version and say, yeah, revert to this one. This is really cool. But the chart shows that 22% of the respondents do not know what this tool is, and another 9 do not use it at all. But on the good side, most people use it. They know about it. So this is good. That's why it is there for. The next one, it's similar, but instead of versions in the image, it opens the versions in Git. Yeah? So this is very handy when you want to browse the method versions without leaving the Faro environment. The chart shows, however, that more than 23% of the respondents do not know what this tool is, and another 23 do not use it at all. I find that surprising, but maybe some people just don't use source control. That could be an explanation. I have no other explanation. And it was also not part of the survey. Yeah. Then the last one that you see there, I call it the copy method name tool. This is extremely handy when you want to communicate about methods in a written fashion, for instance, on Slack or any other medium, or in a pull request. Yeah? When you click it, then well, not in this case, this is actually the wrong method selector, but something like this, yeah, is put on your clipboard. It can also be used to inspect or browse it because it's a message expression, right? It points to the compiled method. Look at the chart. The chart shows that more than 30% of the respondents do not know what the tool is, and another 31 do not use it at all. I find that very surprising. I use this tool multiple times a day, every day. Let's look at a summary of all those tools then. We see a similar pattern as before. But 2 out of the 4 tools are used more than what we saw in the previous summary. Yeah? But still, the pattern is there. Okay, I'm going to now take out a few other questions. And this one is the first one. Do you use Command Shift-R and Command Shift-L to indent and outdent lines? The tip is in the question, right? So you have another tip. The chart shows that more than half of the respondents do not know what these shortcuts, and another 22 do not use them at all. This is, of course, no surprise, because according to me, indent and outdent is not documented. Yeah? Let's have a look how it works. I will not do it here. It's a video, right? So let's watch a video what happens when I press Command Shift R a few times and Command Shift L a few times. Yeah? In other tools, outside Faro, you typically use Tab and Shift Tab to do that, or on a Mac, you typically use Command Open Bracket and Command Closing Bracket to indent and outdent because it's a standard shortcut on a Mac. I have a similar question. Do you use Command 2 to widen the selection? The tip is also in the question here. The chart shows that more than 65% of the respondents do not know what the keyboard shortcut is. They just don't know it. And another 28 do not use it at all. So if you add it up, that's 93% that do not know this keyboard shortcut. So basically no one knows about it, right? Again, this is no surprise because it's not documented. Actually, I forgot about it. I think it was in older versions a long time ago, but it's still there. I found it in the code. Yeah? Let's have a look. Let's watch a video again to see how it works. So there we go. The insertion point is there. Command 2, Command 2, Command 2, Command 2, and Command 2. So as you see, it widens the selection, and the good thing is it selects a whole message expression every time. So that means that this is very handy when you want to remove a message expression without using your mouse. Yeah, you can do it with a keyboard. This is really cool. And since I know this, I use it a lot. Okay, So what are the observations here? You saw the summaries, yeah? But let's maybe draw some conclusions, although it is difficult to draw conclusions because I did not ask why they didn't know about it or whatever. So, yeah, as we see that some browser tools are not used by many Faro developers, and I was wondering why, yeah? Do people read the documentation, was one of the questions I had. Do people explore the tools in the browser? I mean, the tools are in your face, so maybe you like to try it. Maybe people don't do that. Do people read the release notes? I don't know. Are all the changes in the release notes? I don't know either. Do people read the mail that we see every Friday, this week on the Faro issue tracker from Marcus? I don't know. I read it, yeah, and that's a way to catch up with things, yeah. But yeah, if some tools are not used much, then maybe we should remove them from the browser. For instance, the toggle for the line numbers, if it is in the settings, why would you toggle it on and off in individual browsers? I don't know. Yeah? The text wrapping, why would you turn it off and turn it on? Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not, but maybe we can just move it to the settings as well. Yeah? Second observation, some keyboard shortcuts are not known by Faro developers. That's clear, that's very clear from the charts that you saw. Yeah, a lot are not documented, so that's probably the reason why the people don't know about them. A lot of those shortcuts are also non-standardized, right? They are very different from what we see in other tools like VS Code, Emacs, your favorite text editor, whatever. Yeah? And that means that people just don't know. There are other questions in the survey that ask a lot of other things, and the Faro method editor behaves differently than, and sometimes in good ways, let me state that clearly. Yeah? So it differs differently from other tools, and that's maybe the reason why people don't know how to use it. Okay, I think some shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, might have been forgotten, yeah, lost in history, as I called it there, and I think Command 2 is one like that. Okay, I have a few minutes left. I'm within the half an hour that I have, so I will give you a few other tips to finish this presentation. First of all, you saw Johan do it in his presentation, and I wonder whether you know. Yeah? When I joined the team at YesPlan, I saw people do this. They select part or a whole message, and then they selected senders and implementers from the context menu, or they use the keyboard shortcuts, right? But there is a far better, faster, more efficient way to do that. And that's Command-click and Command-Shift-click. If you Command-click on part of a message, for instance, one keyword of a keyword message, then you open a browser on the implementers of the message. If you Command-Shift-click, then you open the senders. And it also applies to classes. So if you press Command-click, if you Command-click on a class name anywhere, then it will open a browser on that class. If you Command-Shift-click, then it opens the references to that class. And you can even do it for instance variables and for class variables, and then they behave the same. Yeah, you just Command-click, and then you browse the variable references. Did you know this? Yes, okay, because this is documented. Yeah, this is documented. Okay, one thing that is not documented, I guess, is a bit of a strange behavior when I Command-click on a variable in a class definition. So if I Command-click on an instance variable or a class variable, then for some reason it opens a browser on the class byte string. Try it out. This is it. So okay, and I'll fix it. Okay. Excuse me? I don't know. This is a tip that Stefan told me about because I didn't know it, and maybe I should have known. You can double-click on the tab of a method editor, and then it expands to the full size of the browser. So this is very handy when you do not have enough space to see the whole source. Yeah? And then you can double-click it again, and then it collapses to the original size. And then I have another one. and I must say I have discovered it 2 weeks ago. Well, yeah, the full behavior I discovered 2 weeks ago, and that's this one. As you know, we use Command S to save changes to the method source. You make a change to the method, do Command S, and it's saved, right? Now, apparently, Command S has other behavior in the browser as well. If you open a new browser, what you see here on the left side, and there is no selection in there yet, you just opened it, and then you do Command S, what opens then? The repositories browser. If you make one selection, so in the package list or the class list, the protocol list or the method list, and you do Command S, then it opens the commit window. I don't know whether this was on purpose, but that's the behavior. Okay, let's wrap up. Time's up. So this is all I have for you today. All the results of the survey are on the what's it called? The blog. Yeah, you see the top link there. I published it this morning. I also plan to write more blog posts about browsers, in the Faro browser in particular. So that's it. If you have questions, do not hesitate to send me a message. Ask now or ask me outside later on. I'm happy to answer any question. Go ahead.
So it's more an observation than a question, but for some of the unknown features, I have the impression that it's also because some might be more recent than others. Like, for example, the copy of the method name, I think it's more recent than, for example, the versions or things like that. And for some of the features, I know that I did not use them, but because I did not never clicked on the icon, and some icons are there since like 10% of Faro, and some from 2 versions. So I think that plays an important part also.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. As I said, I came back after 20 years. I opened Faro and I saw it, and I thought, interesting, and I clicked everything. That's how it worked for me. Yeah, but I don't know about the history. Yeah.
And another thing for the command click, since like 1 or 2 versions of Faro, you can also do it on symbols, and if a symbol is the name of a method, it will also be a
That's true. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but that's true. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah.
Is there a place in the GUI? Sorry, I arrived late. I wish I know we were doing this. Is there a place in the GUI where all the stuff that is documented is documented?
No, but you have the Faro settings, and in there you have a lot of keyboard shortcuts that you see there, but not all of them. Definitely not all of them. If you like, I can give you a few methods where you can look where the keyboard shortcuts are handled. But it's not in one place. Yeah. Steph. Oh, somebody else? Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to know, you conduct this study on Faro, but do you know any other study, for example, for Eclipse? Because I feel like in Eclipse you will have exactly the same situation. Too many buttons and nobody knows what's doing that.
Maybe so, yeah. But I do not have any plans to do a survey on Eclipse. Yeah. But for instance, VS Code is an interesting one, because you can open a page with all the keyboard shortcuts in there, and you can add and change the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah. So if you like to have the Emacs keyboard shortcuts, for instance, and it was asked by some people in the survey, then you just install them, right? Yeah. Now, of course, there are things that you are used to in other environments that you cannot do in Smalltalk, because since the beginning, a certain keyboard shortcut exists. For instance, Command D for do it. Yeah, I mean, in VS Code, for instance, you use that to select the words under the insertion point or the selection. Yeah, so you cannot replace everything. Do you have another question? Because Stefan doesn't. Yeah, go.
I was wondering, where did you find all those shortcuts, for example?
Okay, yeah. So that's the same answer as I gave to Dave. Yeah, there are a few methods in the image where you can look for. Yeah, and the editor, the text editor is one of them. Stefan.
Thanks, this was fun. My take is we should clean the stuff. You should discuss also with Guichet because at some point he revised all the key bindings.
Uh-huh.
And at some point there was a key bindings browser, so you could open it and you could see all the bindings.
Yep.
And they were
Yep.
things like that. And maybe we just lost it.
Maybe we did, or maybe it's still there.
That, it would be really nice to do the same for the menu. You know, the shortcut reminder. That would be nice to use it everywhere like that. When you do an operation, the system tells you.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. So.
Yeah. But he's not here, huh? No. He was, so he saw it. Okay. Okay. Good. But yeah, I know him. He gave some presentations. Okay. Good. Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't use Faro, but I would like to ask, is there a bubble head so that these icons you could get help if you...
Yes, for some. For some. Yes. Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if you could get statistically, do you think it's possible? Like per image usage of people, so instead of doing it could be a way to get information and then make.
Yeah, then I have to ask everybody to install something to get the statistics. Yeah, I think it's possible. Probably it's possible. Yeah. Okay. That's it? Cool. Thank you.